I've just come back from a monastery for our team building exercise. It wasn't very good, and I wondered, Phil, if you could shed any more useful light on teams and leadership and how to do it properly as one of the two cooks.
As the cooking side of the two cooks, I interviewed an awful lot of people in restaurants, got some fascinating studies and ideas from them. You didn't get a lot from your time in the monastery? Looks like you at least got a cape. Did you steal it?
I just had to take my clothes off and pray a lot, and I thought there's got to be more than that.
There's got to be more than that. Half an hour with anyone who runs a restaurant gives you a great feeling for things that can go right and wrong. One great quote I got from an owner-manager, he said about chefs, because chefs are always considered a bit volatile. He said he needed his chefs to do three things. One was to cook. You'd take that as granted. Secondly, they had to manage a business, manage the money. And thirdly, they had to be good at managing people. He'd been in the business for 42 years, and he'd never found anyone who could do all three. Now, isn't that the Peter principle, Peter? People get promoted one step beyond their capability, and they go for one thing, and then suddenly they can't do everything. That was the reason he sacked them.
That sounds a lot more practical than praying on its own. I understand the spirituality bit, but the being able to do the three things is a very handy tip. I guess that probably transfers quite well to most work settings, doesn't it?
I think so, and I think they also made me think differently about HR and personnel practices. When you'd get as far as speaking to some people, and they'd say universally, and all the restaurants I went to, universally they said they never took up references. Now, there's going to be some people watching this thinking, what? They're missing out on a really useful piece of information. Doesn't work like that.
I don't think you can give anyone a bad reference these days.
That's probably one of the reasons, but they did it for another reason, that they get rid of people very, very quickly if they didn't fit. Fit was the most important thing in their teams. If someone didn't fit, one bad apple would ruin the whole thing very, very quickly. But what they did is they sorted it very quickly in restaurants. A lot of organisations I work with, they might have a 3-month or a 6-month trial period, but then they don't do anything about it.
That sounds very much like pret-a-manger, that hire people for their attitude, and if they do need any skills, they can provide that. But most firms hire people for your knowledge and skills, and you get sacked for your attitude, and I certainly would.
Doing it the wrong way round. You look a strange attitude at the moment.
I think I'm not going back to the monastery after.
No. So you think you might go to a restaurant and learn a bit more. And that's what we do on our conference speeches. We have music to make people think in a different way, but all these stories that we've gained from just going to chat to people who look after, run or own restaurants makes you think differently. But we back it up with what?
Business balls.
Lots and lots of good, solid theory. So you listen to the theory more because your ears have been opened in a different way.
So, if you want a keynote speaker team that actually affect your mind, body and soul, contact the Two Cooks. We're at www.thetwocooks.co.uk, and we promise not to take you to a monastery to solve your team problems.
But we might take you to a restaurant. I'm Phil Hawthorne.
I'm Peter Cook.
And together we are the Two Cooks.